Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit Jupiter sextile or trine one's natal ascendant. Now, this transit can manifest in optimism, enthusiasm, truth, um, being happy, jovial, jocularity. These things could be in harmony with your physical body, and I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. Well, first off, I mean, this is a time where you could be very optimistic in regards to what you can do physically, but not over optimistic to the point where you're arrogant. And it's not a time where you're going to be thinking, okay, I bench pressed 350 pounds today, and tomorrow I'm going to go right to 400. I'm going to bench 450 or 500 pounds tomorrow. It's not like over optimism or arrogance or being overly cocky. This is a time, though, when you are, it's very positive in new beginnings, and again, what you can do, physically. Um, the ascendant, say, is in Taurus or even Capricorn, it might be doing something, with construction. If you have your ascendant in Capricorn, it could be, maybe doing something with carpentry, business-related matters. Um, it could be, doing even information technology as some examples. Um, this is a time, when you have this transit as well, where you could be very, you could express joviality, just general happiness outwardly very well. And it's a time too, when you have this transit as well. It's about understanding the truth regarding the physical body, whether it's good or bad. If there's any physical related issues that you have to deal or contend with, this is the time to be very honest, and you're seeing the veritable truth in these matters. Going back to the ascendant being in Taurus as an example, it could be some issues with the throat, the neck, the thyroid, or the esophagus, or even energy levels. Taurus rising, of course, can have much latent energy behind their strong, prodigious powers of endurance, and it's a time where you'd understand more what you're able to see the truth and what you can do physically and from an energy vitality standpoint as well. And it's also being more, positive in your outlook on life, even if your ascendant, is somewhat, negative or pessimistic. A Capricorn ascendant could outwardly be very cynical, negative, or pessimistic, but this is the time when you have this transit where you could have more positivity in your nature, and realistic. A lot of it is realistic optimism. I would say, and it's not being over, optimistic. When you have, like, say, even like an adverse, aspect, transit from Jupiter to the ascendant may manifest in being, over optimistic in regards on what, one can do. And of course, when you have, over optimism in what you can do from a physical standpoint, there can be repercussions as a result, such as, just general overexertion and expending too much energy. And this is a time too where, Jupiterian people, whether it could be in-laws or people, philosophers, religious people, college teachers, publishers, these people may be more in harmony and in agreement with the outer demeanor, the nature you're projecting outwardly. If your ascendant is an Aquarius, say, it could be you may be seeing a lot of the positive qualities, ingenious, or considerate, selfless, altruistic qualities that are projected outwardly, and it's a time where you can have more, general compatibility with those Jupiterian people, more so than you ordinarily would. And this could also be a transit that is fortuitous and lucky as far as your new beginnings may go. The ascendant, say, is in Gemini as an example. Those new beginnings could be something connected with manual dexterity, such as auto or refrigeration mechanics, or working in some communication fields, such as data or satellite communications, or journalism, or writing, as just general writing, as some examples. And this is also a time where It could be very, again, fortuitous, very fortunate, for matters with people that were prominent in your early childhood, or even a grandparent, where you're able to express, I would say, humor more with these people, and it's not being taken, in a negative way, or it's, misconstrued. Sometimes when people, you know, make jokes, sometimes, might come across as ambiguous, or it's something where, maybe you were taken as, you said something from, they might see it as more serious, like you meant something in a serious manner, and they're taken aback by it. But this is a time, I would say, where these people would be more apt to understand that you're just being jocular and seeing your humor, and it could mean for a better, time period with these people as well, just in general. And it's also, again, it's very beneficial and advantageous, I would say, for making a first impression. If you're, especially like if you're going to, you're going to a prospective employer, you're looking for work, and you're talking, have an interview with a manager or some, person in position of authority. This is the time where you're more apt to make a more positive first impression on those people, more so than you ordinarily would. And it's really bringing some humor, and also, just being very optimistic, not to the point where you're over optimistic, but just confident in who you are, your attributes that you project outwardly. And if Virgo rising can be, somebody that's very, punctual and timely, and very, observant to things in general, and very cerebral. And it's a time, like in that example, you can make, Virgo rising could make a good impression in allowing the prospective employer to see the positive attributes of that as of the ascendant. And it's also a time, again, vitality, the energy level. This could be very good to be able to do things and have the right amount of exuberance and enthusiasm to doing things with the physical body at this time. It's a time where, say for example, if the ascendant is in Pisces, maybe there's something, involving swimming, or it could be, boating, working on docks, as some examples, and having that energy and vitality, that right amount, and you really, to be able to do, what is needed to be done. And it's really just a general positive time period for those qualities, those attributes that you can naturally and readily express, which is, of course, the ascendant. And if you have a Sagittarius ascendant as an example, those qualities could be, again, they could be very, jovial and jocular, and very upbeat, optimistic, expansive. And those qualities and humorous, and those qualities can, it's positive to naturally express them and have positive results as a result of doing so. And it's also a time where it's also a good time for matters of self-interest at this time, and being able to have, the right amount of exuberance and enthusiasm to do activities that are more pertaining to the self at this time. And it's a time where, you're less likely to have, some kind of diversion, distraction in doing so. Now, another way, this transit could manifest as a time where it could be where you have the right amount of exuberance and enthusiasm, which is Jupiter, for new beginnings, which is the first house, the ascendant. Let's say, for example, if the ascendant is in the zodiac sign Cancer, it could be cooking, doing restaurant, culinary work. It could be something associated with plumbing, or doing even laundry. At this time, or if you're in, starting a laundry business as an example, that could be an example as a new beginning. Now, it could also be a time too where it's very positive for the truth and veracity, which is Jupiter, in matters that are pertaining to the physical body, which is the ascendant. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, yeah, that's my signature statement. But anywho, let's say, for example, this is, again, this could be a time where it's very positive for having about the truth, understanding the truth, and being veracious in matters with the physical body. Jupiter is connected with veracity, physical body, the ascendant. If the, again, going back to the ascendant in Taurus as an example, it could be issues with the throat, the neck, thyroid, esophagus, and even just general endurance levels. I mean, Taurus rising is known to have great powers of endurance, so it's a time and a lot of latent energy behind those powers, and really understanding the truth about it, and maybe seeing, what you can do from a physical standpoint, energy standpoint, in knowing this, having this understanding. It's also a time where you can more readily express humor, which is Jupiter outwardly, which is the ascendant. Say, for example, if the transit Jupiter is in Capricorn, it could be political, just Capricorn, satire or humor, which is Jupiter. It also could be a time where it's very, it's auspicious and very, just general being positive, which is Jupiter, for making a good first impression, which is the ascendant. If the ascendant is in Virgo, as an example, it could be very cerebral, analytical, helpful first impression, or bringing those qualities out, on an interview, as an example. It could be a time too where sports, which is associated with Jupiter, can really have that vitality and energy for, which is the ascendant. For example, let's say that the transit Jupiter is in Leo. It could be doing something with golf, or I would say bodybuilding as well, because Leo, likes to show, they want to, strut their stuff, and bodybuilding is an excellent way to do so, of course. And also, too, in-laws, which is Jupiter, may favor the qualities that you're naturally expressing, which is the ascendant. If the ascendant is in Libra, as an example, it could be very charming, tactful, diplomatic, sociable, refined qualities that are projected outwardly. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.